All right, guys, good afternoon. Welcome to the Kantech and StoneLock integration presentation. We're very excited to host this presentation today. We're going to be talking a lot about the integration between StoneLock and Kantech. And you guys are going to see it's not just two products tied together and off we go. We, as a team, both teams sat together and built something really, really cool. So before we go on further, we have Greg Harmon here that works for StoneLock, and myself, Tom Gift the Crystals. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, for those that don't know who I am, I see some new names on that list. My name is Greg Harmon, and Kantech is a product line that's near and dear to my heart. I spent about 13 years working with that product line before joining StoneLock a little over a year ago. And we have a number of members on our team that also share that passion for Kantech. So to Tom's point, we have what we're going to show you today. We've built it's different than just a typical integration. Like it's a true partnership, and you're going to see it in how seamless and simple we've made the integration between the two products and the sort of support strategy we have for it. But we're really proud with what we've done here, and I think it's a bit of a game changer for the world of biometrics to finally make it easy.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Greg. So again, you guys don't know me. I'm Tom Gifter Christos. I work for Kantech for almost 16 years now. So I've seen a lot of integrations out there. And when we started the integration with StoneLock, they sent me a unit, like a beta unit in a cardboard box. Here you go. No manuals, which I like because it helped me figure out the unit very fast. And within about 2-3 hours, it was up and running, no help. So the integration was built seamlessly into Kantech, and it's very simple. I'll be very fair with you guys. It's a beautiful reader that just plugs into EntraPass. And as a customer of EntraPass, which is a lot of you guys are, the integration is mostly on EntraPass visual. You don't have to reteach your people on how to use the integration. It's seamless for the integration. So really tight integration, and you'll see throughout the presentation, we just didn't tie the product together. We also tied the business together. It's not an add-on, bolt-on, and we're done. We actually said, how can we make it a full user experience for the dealer, to the end user, to the integrator, to the rep, the whole situation from A to Z. So I really, really like this little product, and it works pretty well. And you guys can see one. I have one in the back. I can take off my glasses or keep them on. It reads my face regardless, right? So I think we should start.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do this. Yeah, perfect.
So StoneLock, Greg, tell us.
Yeah, so a little bit about StoneLock. As you can see on the title slide there, we see people differently is our corporate philosophy. I, working for Tyco security products and Kantech specifically, got exposed to a number of different biometric platforms. And people love the idea of biometrics. It's a way of ensuring that only the person that's going to gain entry to your door is the person that you assigned it to, right? Pins can be shared, cards can be shared or cloned, but a biometric is going to ensure that the person only the person that I want entering that door is the one that is gaining access to it. So when we see people differently, what we have done is people love the idea, they get it deployed, and then they realize, wow, there's a lot of work required here, and there's a lot of software touch points, a lot of areas where we can make mistakes. And we have gone in and we have gone to painstaking lengths to try and simplify all of that. We've gotten rid of all of those software touch points where administrators were making mistakes and users weren't getting authenticated. And we're letting users work right from the EntraPass interface, which is great for me. I mean, I've spent the last decade basically doing Kantech demos, and now that I'm at StoneLock, I'm doing more Kantech demos than ever because I get to show it how to manage it right from EntraPass, and I don't even have to go into my interface to get a user enrolled in the system. So we see people differently. Sorry, go ahead, Tom.
I love when there's more demos for Kantech.
There it is, yeah. So the other part that we see people differently is if you look in Tom's background, you can see at the top of the device there's near infrared LEDs embedded in the face. But if you look in the top of the devices that are mounted behind me, you don't see near infrared. And the reason for that is because Tom's camera picks up a little bit of near infrared light. Mine doesn't pick up any. But our sensor, our device is working in the near infrared, non-visible spectrum. So we're not looking in the visible light spectrum, we're working in the non-visible. So we see people differently. It's all about the way that we look at all the people who have touch points with our product from a corporate philosophy, and then our technology. We see people differently because we're looking at it in a completely different light spectrum. Just to give you a little bit of background, I'm based out of Toronto, and I'm Director of Sales with StoneLock. Yannick Brunet, many people may know Yannick. He was a part of Kantech in a management role for the better part of 2 decades, and he is our general manager at StoneLock as well. He's based out of Vancouver. We have some development personalities that are based out of Quebec, also with a lot of Kantech experience, which is probably an understatement. And then other than that, we have most of our team is right down in Kansas City. So you'll find our ownership, tech support, QA, engineering. And another part of our business now is we're actually manufacturing the product up in Utica, New York. So we're using a world-class manufacturing facility actually that we're sharing with Alarm.com right up in Utica. So one thing that we're really proud of is this biometric platform it's all ours. We own everything from the software to the hardware. We're not pulling in analytics from overseas or anything like that. We do everything from end to end, and all the manufacturing, everything that I just described, all being done onshore.
Very nice.
All right. So I'll just talk real quick about the foundation of what this product is built on. Facial recognition, when you hear about it in the news and controversy surrounding facial recognition in California and other areas, what that typically talks about is a video analytic that is dropped on a camera, and the camera's pointed into public space, and Tom walks in front of the camera, and I'm able to go in and identify, okay, that's Tom. I'm going to label Tom, and now when Tom walks in front of the camera again, I can get an alert. The other alternative, maybe we send in a photograph of Tom, and I'm able to do it that way. But in either scenario, Tom's being brought into a facial recognition platform without his consent or knowledge. He didn't realize that he was being onboarded. It just happened. Our product, from a privacy standpoint, does not do that. So users are going to have to consent. They're going to have to enroll. We're going to give you a demo of that here in a few minutes. And not only that, we do not accept pictures. We do not take photographs or videos of users that are either authenticating or enrolling. Basically, from a privacy standpoint, users are going to enroll, and that's going to generate a biometric key. To get to that key, that user's face has to be in front of our device. We're looking at them in that near infrared spectrum, and then we're going to run the analysis on what's reflecting back to our sensor. But for us to get to that key, for us to get the analysis, that user has to be in front of the device. What we capture is not a JPEG or an MPEG or something that could be reverse engineered into an image of a user. From a security standpoint, near infrared is going to give us a number of unique advantages. But primarily, when you look at the way that near infrared will interact with the users, the soft tissue of their face, the reflection that comes back from the near infrared on our device from a user's face versus common spoofing or hacking tools like a picture of a user or a 3D printed mask of a user, what gets returned to our sensor from the near infrared are 3 unique results. So our company's been around since 2011. We've been a leader in the facial biometric space since then with that science. And to date, we have no recorded cases of spoofing. Nobody's been able to trick the reader into thinking it's somebody it's not. And then the big thing that we're going to focus on as we go through the presentation, like, privacy and security, that's been the foundation of StoneLock for years. And then this new product we're going to show you today, the StoneLock GO, it's all about making life simple. The section of the face that we're going to look at is just below the nose and just above the eyebrows. And the reason why we're looking here is because it's going to be the part of the face that's going to remain the most consistent. So as your facial hair changes down here, or ball caps and hard hats, the part of the face that we're going to look at is going to be the area that's going to typically remain just above the upper lip, the most consistent area of the face. A couple questions pop up on this slide every presentation. The first one is, do we support glasses? You can see Tom's wearing glasses there. Basically what we're going to do, and that's, yeah, they're just a prop. But the reason why why we're doing that is we will do an enrollment with glasses and we'll do an enrollment without glasses. So users will be able to verify regardless, they won't have to take their glasses off. So that's the one question we get. And then February of last year, we started getting the question, what about masks? And it pops up on the slide. It kind of triggers that for everybody. And the answer to that is today, we are working just like an iPhone. So if you have an iPhone and you need to authenticate on it, you have to pull your mask down. There's no difference with StoneLock on that. It is something we are working on. We're hoping that we're going to be able to achieve that with a firmware update and a software update, but it's still a work in progress. So this is the device, and just to give you a quick tour of it, it's got a matte black trim around the outside. You can see it in behind Tom there. Piano black is the texture on the face. You have your near infrared LEDs embedded up here at the top of the device, and you can see it in Tom's video there. It picks up a little bit of that near infrared that's being emitted from them. Our sensor is actually embedded in the piano black face, so you don't see it. It's hiding in there, just below the LED cluster. And then we have this really nice big bright display on the face of the device. Just above that display, we have a QR code scanner as well. So a few things to just point out right out of the gate. This device is going to be mounted at 48 inches to the bottom of the device, 48 inches from the ground. And at 48 inches, that's going to allow users 7 feet tall and also users in a wheelchair to be able to authenticate at arm's length. So from an ADA compliance standpoint, at that mounting height, we've got that vertical field of view where we're able to capture all of that. The other thing to notice about this is having that nice big bright display on the face of the device. It allows us to do a lot of things that are going to completely simplify your customer's experience with the biometric. So right now you can see in the picture there, the face is blue. And I'm going to give a demo for you here in a second. You're going to see when I present my face, you're going to see a scan line start, and in about a quarter of a second, it's going to turn green to say we recognize this user. If we don't recognize that user, it's going to turn red. So what this display is going to do for us is not just show users what's happening at the door so that they can understand if they're being recognized or not. But what we're going to be able to do with it is the exact same thing that you probably, most of you would have experienced with your iPhone or your Android. When you enroll your biometric on your phone, you didn't have the Genius Bar or Geek Squad or any of this stuff have to help you. You didn't have to call Tom to get him to support you getting your biometric in your phone. You just followed the prompts on the screen. And we're doing the same thing here. We're literally going to just give about 18-second long process. It's just step by step, really simple to follow. 18 seconds later, user's ready to start their day. It is simple enough that they can self-enroll without the traditional hand-holding of biometrics. So we are using a new process, and I'm going to jump into a demo right after this slide, and then Tom's going to talk for a bit. But we're using a process that we call first read enrollment. And this is a game changer for how we simplify biometric onboarding. So just to step back from first read enrollment for a second, typically onboarding a biometric into a system, if Tom was showing up and he said, hey, I'd like to be put in the biometric system, I would have to open up software typically. I'd have to find Tom's profile. I would have to find the device that I want to enroll Tom on. Sometimes it even has to be a dedicated enrollment station, not with us. Select start, walk Tom over to the device, do the enrollment with him, show him what to do, walk back to the software, and download Tom to the other devices where I want him to be able to work or be able to authenticate. With us, we eliminate 100% of those steps. We don't do any of that. What we are going to do is we're going to use a process called first read enrollment. First read enrollment is basically, you're going to have two categories of customers. You're going to have some customers that just present their face, or some users, I should say, and then you're going to have some users that want to do card plus face. In that two-factor scenario, we know because they were programmed inside of Kantech, we know that this card number is linked to this user. So when this user shows up to an enrollment reader for the first time, or a reader that has been toggled on to allow for enrollment, all they have to do is present their card, and this screen will come to life and walk them through this really simple to follow enrollment process. When it's done, they go and start their day. It's about 18 seconds. They show up, tap their card, follow the prompts, 18 seconds later, they're ready to authenticate on the next reader. And I'm going to do a demo for you, and I'm going to enroll on this reader over here. And then when I'm done, I'm going to walk over here and I'm going to authenticate there, and you're going to see it happens instantaneously. So that's for card plus face users. There is no software touch point. I did not have to log into software to start any of this. I did not have to log into software to broadcast that biometric to the different readers. The second way that this is going to work is when I go inside of EntraPass and I create a user, there's an email field there. And if that is filled out, what we will do for those users is as soon as we hit save in EntraPass, StoneLock will generate a unique QR code that is uniquely that user's, and you have a toggle option to automatically send that user an email with that QR. So now they get an enrollment request email, and when they show up with it, the person doing the administration is just going to say, oh, you got that email? Yeah, open it up. Okay, you have your QR. Now just show it to the device, follow the prompts on the screen, and start your day. Again, no software touch point. So I feel like I've been doing a lot of talking on it, and we should probably maybe jump into an actual hands-on demo.
Very excited to see it. Let's go.
All right, let's do it. I'm going to, before we do that, let me show you what it looks like. Oh, jump over here.
So StoneLock does have an interface, like you said, right?
Yes.
But a lot of it is running through EntraPass, as you're going to see. Most of the demo will be EntraPass, right?
Yeah,
cool.
So when we do typical demos, we're just showing EntraPass. And if you guys haven't seen this, if you're new to Kantech, the EntraPass Go app makes managing your access control system really simple. So, your users are going to get to live in here. But the first thing I'm going to show you is this is my list of users. And if I pop over to StoneLock, you're going to see basically those are mirrors of one another. All the users that I created in EntraPass are going to be mirrored. We're going to just pull all the information that we need from EntraPass. If I go back in, I'll show you just so you can see how quickly the integration works. And I'm going to delete my profile inside of EntraPass Go, and you can see that user that I had created for myself down here at the bottom, gone in real time. So one of the great parts about the integration to start with is everything we do is live and in real time. I don't have to wait for a polling sequence to kick in an hour from now or 20 minutes from now to do a full database sync. We're pulling just the changes down, so much faster and much leaner. So I'm going to put in my name. I'm going to put in my email address, and I'm going to put in my card number. Let's do 36, and I'm going to click save. So I create my user in EntraPass, and I only show our interface just to point out that that user with card number 36 was pulled down in real time. We pulled down my name, we pulled down my card number, my status. EntraPass, you can have 5 card numbers if you're marking them lost or stolen. We'll manage all of that. We'll pull all the card numbers that we need. So you'll have all 5 card numbers potentially here. The email address I entered is there as well. And then you can see that we created for myself a unique QR code. The other thing that happened there is as soon as I hit save, and again, I haven't touched anything in StoneLock, as soon as I hit save in Kantech, I receive an email, and that email is my enrollment email. So I'm a face-only user. I'm going to get an email that has my QR code. All I have to do to enroll is show that QR code to the device and follow the prompts on the screen. So let me stop sharing this with you, and I'm going to jump over, and Tom's going to narrate this part.
Yeah, and I'll put your full screen, Greg, so turn off my camera also. Perfect. So now I've got the QR code. Before that, Greg is going to show up to the reader, and he's going to see that his face is not even programmed anymore. When he deleted it before, it gets wiped out. So in about 3-4 seconds, it gets scanned, and the reader goes red. That means he's not a valid user as a StoneLock unit, and both units don't actually allow him a valid card. He takes his QR code and he presents it in front of the reader. The QR code lights up, and now he starts the enrollment process. All he has to do is stay about an arm's length away and relax his face and follow the prompts with his glasses on if he has any. And then he just follows the little dot that's going to appear, which is going to enroll his face. It's going to scan the face that we talked about before, the middle part, and then it's to take another image without the glasses. So if you don't have any glasses, you remove them, and now the face will be enrolled and will become a biometrics key, a unique key and algorithm that belongs to that person. And that's the enrollment. Now you guys saw the lock went green, and when you start in front of it, it automatically becomes green, letting him through. And look at that. Now that reader also became green instantaneously. So the moment that reader got accepted, it automatically sent it up to the software and to the other readers automatically. So automatically, all the readers on that StoneLock Go software platform have that face biometric key in there. So you don't have to go to every single one of them, enroll yourself. And you guys saw it took what, 2 seconds, not even get to walk over, and it worked. Very good, very quick platform, right? And what I really liked about that is, if you guys didn't notice, he didn't have to touch the reader or tap it or wiggle it or whatever. It just started enrolling him right away, right? It's like QR code. So go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, exactly, Tom. And so what we basically just done is we basically turned my face into a card. So our role in this whole mix now is we have turned my face into a card. And when I present my face at the reader, it's going to take the card number that was assigned to me in Kantech, and it's going to push it down to the Kantech controller. So just so that you guys all understand sort of the relationship between us and Kantech, think of us like a reader, like just any traditional reader, and think of your face like the card. All we are doing is we're going to push that card number down to the access control panel. We make no decisions. All we're doing is authenticating. We do not make any decisions as far as granting access, not granting access, access levels, schedules, all that sort of stuff. That is totally without, totally in the Kantech purview.
So one of the benefits of that, guys, is that when they say they don't take any access control decisions, the access control level, granted schedules, alarm integration, whatever you have set up for that door is managed by Kantech. So you don't have to double think, was I granted and allowed because of StoneLock or not? StoneLock just tells us, yes, it's a valid face, and here's the card number, and then Kantech controllers take care of the rest for the access control decision making. Makes your life a lot easier not to double think what can go wrong somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. So that experience that you saw, you can see my screen okay, Tom?
Yeah, of course. Very good.
Awesome. Okay. So that experience of me enrolling and then walking right over and being able to authenticate, that is going to happen for every reader on the system. And we set a new benchmark in the biometric industry for how many users we can authenticate locally at the device level. So we're actually authenticating 10,000 biometric users at the device level, meaning that when I show up and I present my face on this second reader, my face was already sitting there waiting for my biometric key, I should say, was already sitting there waiting for me to do the authentication. The authentication was not happening at the gateway level, it's at the device level. So what that means is up to 10,000 users, they're all going to have that same experience. Onboard and authenticate in about a quarter of a second, and then you know, through you go. The users above 10,000, so this is not to say we can only store 10,000, but we have a way we call smart in, smart out of managing users in excess of 10,000. So we have a really cool way of doing that. But basically, the decision who's at the door and what their card number and passing that down is happening at the reader. So if the network is offline, if the gateway is unavailable, we are still authenticating locally at the device. Users are still coming and going. So from a reliability standpoint, it's pretty much, you know, the same as having a card and a reader, because, you know, we're talking from a hardware to hardware level.
That's actually very good. 10,000 readers off, 10,000 cardholders or users offline. And the cool part, obviously, we haven't seen it yet. Obviously, the reader's wired weekend back to the controller. So even if your network goes down, you're still going to be good for 10,000 people because the controller will support those memory in there also. So thank you, Greg. So what we have done is the Kantech has developed a program through JCI called the Connected program, right? This Connected program allows manufacturers like StoneLock and Kantech to write integrations together through our web services API. So Kantech has developed a very powerful web service API. If you don't know how powerful it is, just use the EntraPass web and you'll see what it can do. So we've taken the API calls, worked with StoneLock, and wrote an integration to make the customer have a solution, not just two products. because anybody can have two products. Anybody could put a reader on the wall and have Wiegand back to the controller. That's not really integration, right? The integration comes when you have a one interface managing both platforms and have a seamless integration. So the connected program allows manufacturers like StoneLock and others to connect to Kantech and give an ecosystem that people can use. Now, it is very secure because it allows the partner to have a dedicated key that belongs to them. As a developer, you get a key, and that key says you're the guy that's going to call me. So even before you get in the login page or the login code, you actually have an encryption that says, "Who are you?" And as an end user, I have to allow this to come in. So if I don't want any integrations and I even have your login, I can't get in because as a system, I've blocked all the integrations or I allow the ones that I want, right? So the next flight there you guys are going to see, we just didn't build card management. So yeah, so we didn't build card management out only. The Kantech integration with StoneLock is what we consider a level 3 integration, which is the highest one as of yet. There's nothing higher as of an integration, and higher meaning the more complete one out there. It's pretty cool because it does feel like it's one system for the end user. It is an ecosystem for him. So it's a really seamless integration. And as you guys saw with Greg's PowerPoint presentation, he used EntraPass Go. You could have used the web or the workstation. Nowhere did I have to teach somebody, check this checkbox, do it this way, anything. Everything is seamless, and you program a card holder like you would program in EntraPass. It is real time, so the moment that card is pressed save, everything is down to the StoneLock gateway, the email is sent, and everything automatically synchronizes and works. Now, one really cool thing is that I actually get events in EntraPass. I think this is where the integration goes higher. Yes, the real-time stuff is cool, but having my events coming back, like Tom, it's a reader. What events do you want? Right? Yes, the Wiegand part sends me the card number, which is cool, and that's where I control everything. But what if somebody that is not enrolled tries to get into the system? He's going to go in front of the reader. The reader obviously will deny him because the guy is not enrolled. It will send us an event in the EntraPass software as a failed verification. We'll know which door it's at. We'll know which reader failed from there. And through the integration, we can now pull a camera through ExactVision, for example, and make a recording, have a pop-up, right? So notify the guard that somebody's trying to get in without having him being enrolled. Why is he doing it? Is some guy walking by a door as a visitor and he just sat there and found it cool? Or he's trying to get into the IT room purposely, right? Tries putting on mask, hats, glasses, no glasses, right? So those events are very powerful, giving a solution to our customer through the ExactVision and Kantech and StoneLock ecosystem as a whole. So again, everything is managed through EntraPass. And with the StoneLock gateway, when you get it, the StoneLock integration is preloaded inside their code. There's a button, it says Kantech. You just type your username and password and IP, and off you go. There's no installing extra stuff on the StoneLock to get it working. On the Kantech side, it's part of the EntraPass web. There's a license for it. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Oh, there you go. So what's required, right? What's required? It does require EntraPass Corporate Edition or Global Edition, right? And it does require EntraPass 823. Remember I was telling you guys about those developer keys? Well, developer keys are added in EntraPass as we go along. And for security purposes, we don't have like 1,000 of them just lying around. We add them as we need them. So StoneLock's developer key goes forward with 823. So if you have a slightly older version of EntraPass, simply upgrade to 823, and you'll have the ability of using it. Now, the cool part of this, it does require a connected license which is a license you add in EntraPass, which you technically have to buy, but we'll talk about pricing and parts in a few minutes. But the cool part, it's a one-time shot. You put it in EntraPass, and you can connect to your StoneLock gateway software. Now, whether I have 1 door, 5 doors, or 100 doors, or 128 doors, it doesn't matter. It's one license for the entire platform to connect to StoneLock, right? So again, you can grow and add hardware as you want, and your cost doesn't go higher. And because they are integration number 88, we just pair the integration with them, and they start working through the connected program and the web API.
I did want to point out one thing too here is that you know, you're mentioning corporate edition and global edition because we need that smart link and the web service for our integration. We are still technically compatible though with special edition. So if you do have a special edition system, you know, you can basically do a CSV export from special edition, CSV import into StoneLock, and then you're going to be able to still, you know, do that first read enrollment process. So once you bring your whole list in from special, you know, you're still going to have your users show up, tap their card, follow the prompts, or show their QR, follow the prompts. But so we would call that compatible. It's not quite the level of integration, obviously, that we've done because it's a little special what we've done with corporate and global. But I just want to make sure people understand that if you're running, you know, Kantech's standalone reader or special edition, that's not an issue either.
Of course, and if you want the EntraPass Go, right, you need the corporate edition, which everybody uses. So
that's true. Yep.
That was great. Tell us how you wire this thing.
All right, so because I did see Mr. Jose Villatoro asking about what kind of cable is required. So we've looked at how biometric readers have been cabled also traditionally. We wanted to figure out how can we simplify this. So really, I mean, at a very simple level, we've got PoE. So PoE standards apply. Your 100 meters from a PoE switch or a PoE injector or whatever. It just needs power and communication. So that's to the reader. And then out of the back of the reader, you have two different terminal strips. One is your data 0, your data 1, and ground. For those that are not familiar, those are your standard Wiegand terminals. And then optionally, we can bring a dry contact in for LockSense. And what LockSense will do is, so data 0, data 1, and ground, that's what's going to push when a face is presented, the person's card number down to the controller. But so like, let's say it's 501 and Kantech only gave me access until 5. So I don't have a current privilege to get into a door. So what'll happen is I will present my face. The reader will still turn green. The face on the reader will turn green. We recognize that's Greg Harmon. And then it's going to take my card number and push it down to Kantech. But if Kantech doesn't unlock the door, the lock status is going to provide that information on the display. So we're going to be able to tell whether or not it locks or unlocks. And what's great there is a lot of biometrics, you don't get that. You present your fingerprint or whatever, and it's not working, and then you don't know where to start, and you're blaming the biometric. This way, right on the screen, you can determine, it recognizes me. I just don't have the privilege on Kantech, so makes things nice and easy. But from a cabling standpoint, yeah. So your standard Wiegand, 2 conductors for LockSense and PoE. That's it. It is not PoE plus because we always get that question. It's just PoE. Go ahead, Tom.
That's very nice. It makes life easy and simple wiring.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So that's great for face only customers. If you want to do card plus face and you have one of these fancy IOSmart readers, what you can do is you can deploy a board that we call a reader expansion module. The reader expansion module, it can technically go anywhere, but we see most people deploying it either in the same cabinet with their KT400 or right next to it. The reader expansion module is basically going to accept any third-party reader that speaks Wiegand or OSDP, which the IOSmart is in that category. So we connect it to the reader expansion module. The reader expansion module needs a Cat5 or Cat6 to go to the back of our device. So on the previous slide, we had 3 wires going in the back of the device. With this setup, we're only going to have one wire going in the back of the device, Cat5 or Cat6. That's your power and your communication. This will take care of all of the communication, your card number, as well as your LockSense. And then basically you're just going to pass either a few inches or a few feet of wire from your reader expansion module to your controller. When I present a card, we're going to take a look at that card number at the reader level. We're going to make sure that the person who has their face in front of the reader right now matches the card that was presented. And if those match, then we'll push that person's card number down to the access control controller. So again, all of this is happening independent of the gateway. It's all happening from hardware to hardware level. To power the reader expansion module, you can either use PoE Plus. That'll give you enough power to power a third-party reader, our faceplate, and the REM. Or optionally, you can use a 12-volt or 24-volt power supply.
That's pretty cool. Sorry, go ahead, Greg.
No, go.
So that's what's important is when you get denied, for example, you can have somebody else's card and you're going to get denied. You're still going to get that event through the API and the integration in Kantech, right? Otherwise, with other biometrics that are just weakened, you're going to get nothing. So we're never going to be notified that somebody is trying to get in. What if I stole your card, right? I want to be knowing that I'm trying to get in with this. So it gives the next level of integration with our system.
And it's funny, like card sharing is a thing that happens that nobody really talks about. You know, sharing of cards, sharing of pins. What's nice is if I were to lend Tom my card, you know, he presents his card, we can get a verification mismatch because a different biometric from the system than the card that was presented, so they don't match. Those types of alerts we can kind of clamp down on people sharing cards and kind of screwing up the integrity of your entire system. From an install standpoint, one thing to point out that is very important, because when we look at deployments for this, we are an indoor reader today. So the device is meant to be mounted at 48 inches, and it's meant to be mounted indoors, not in direct sunlight. And the reason for that is, one, it's just from an ingress protection standpoint, it's just not built to be put out and withstand the elements. But more importantly, our device floods the user's face with near infrared. The sun emits a significantly more powerful near infrared than our device does. And so under the current configuration, it cannot compete outdoors. There are certain times of days where we just can't authenticate users as consistently as we would like to put our seal of approval on. So at this point, we're making sure that any designs, any deployments that are happening, this device is going indoors. We are working on an outdoor reader, but today we want to make sure that it's being deployed and set up for success.
So guys, I think as a integration, I think we kind of beat up the integration a lot. We tied it together, we made sure it works, and I think we tried to explain as much as possible how tight this thing is. This is not just another plugin to our software, and here we go, right? We went to the exact route, to the DSC route, StoneLock route. They're almost same level, really tied together as an integration, right? So we said, you know what more can we do? How do we tie the whole platform together, not just as a product? How do we offer a solution to not our end users, but our dealers? So we're actually very proud to say that as of today, as of now, you can buy StoneLock through Kantech and from anywhere that Kantech is sold. So whether you buy from company A or company B, distributor A or B, whatever, you can buy it through a Kantech part number, right? So the benefit here is you buy your KT400, you buy your StoneLock at the same time. Also, people love our kits, our KT400 expansion kits or KT1 kits. We just can't stop selling them. We actually bundle together in a kit, a StoneLock kit. We have a kind of a starter kit. We have our software license that comes the StoneLock GO license running on Linux, or you can buy a hardware box, right? You don't want to deploy your own Linux license and box for all this. You can just buy a hardware box that comes with StoneLock on it, the software, and the number of readers you want. So it's one part number for everything you want, but it also includes the connected license. Remember I told you the connected license, you have to add an EntraPass? Well, you don't have to now buy it because the starter kit includes the software license, the connected license, or the hardware, whichever you want, and you can add 3 units in that bundle. Now, if you want 20 new units, just buy a starter kit and then just buy 17 more StoneLock readers and off you go, right? So we want to make it very easy for our customers to actually have StoneLock being able to be purchased and being used. Right.
You touched on it there, Tom. I wanted to just bounce back real quick because I see a question in the chat, and I want to make sure that we were clear on sort of what's involved from a software deployment standpoint. What I just did with that demo, we have EntraPass 2.3 or higher, which is what I'm running on my in a VM right next to me here. Inside of EntraPass, what we're going to install is a StoneLock Windows integration service. So it'll run right on that same machine, similar to like a SmartLink in the way that it runs like a service. So that's going to run in that Windows environment. And that comes with the gateway when you purchase the gateway. And then separate from that, our device is going to be loaded in what we use is Ubuntu and soon to be Red Hat. But basically, we're going to create a VM and we're going to drop our software on that VM. But this is a separate machine, could be a separate physical machine, or you could virtualize it with Hyper-V or VMware. And then basically, we're going to point our Windows integration service to where that VM is, and that's how we're going to establish that integration.
Yeah, but Greg, I don't want to deploy VMs. This is why I like the StoneLock. I don't like the VM part. Well, I do. But what if I don't know how to deploy a VM, right? It was a kind of a trick question.
Yes.
This is where the StoneLock GO hardware gateway comes, right?
Yes. Exactly, and that's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, that's perfect. So, as you get into your large corporate clients, they may want to run things in Ubuntu or Red Hat or whatever, and that's fine. We're totally flexible, similar to the way Kantech has the corporate edition software and the Intebo or Intebo. People pronounce it differently. We're the same from that standpoint.
Box, right? We put it together. Yep. So then I told Greg, how can we go one step further? And we came up as a team, and we decided also, for this is the first time ever, we're going to have a one-stop shop for technical support, right? We said to ourselves, how many times do you guys call a company for access control, and then the guy on tech support helps you, and it tells you, yeah, but the rest is not my part. Call the other guy. And then you, okay, fine, whatever. Then you call the other guy, and you start troubleshooting, and he tells you the funniest part, that's not my fault. Call the first guy again. So, yeah. No, none of that anymore. So Kantech offers a one-stop shop for tech support. You call us for your Kantech and your StoneLock problems, right? Deploying your software, wiring it, configuring it, the integration, and all your StoneLock needs. Now, if ever we need StoneLock to get involved, we're going to get them involved for the higher troubleshooting. But again, as you guys saw, it is a reader that works very well. So hopefully we'll never need them for this. But if we do, they're there to help us and take on the harder cases. So you want to give you, again, a whole user experience from A to Z from all that point.
I saw somebody ask if this will work on the KT1, and the answer is absolutely, as it will with every other controller that Kantech manufactures. So Kantech's been making panels since '86. KT200 was the first, and we can push 26-bit Wiegand down there. The integration obviously is happening at the software level. Their software has carried all their hardware through all the decades, and so So Gord, to answer your question, we can work with any panel that Kantech manufactures.
And Greg, it's not only 26-bit. Remember, we can do XSF also on this thing, right? So now we have the full card number. Again, something that we want to go one step further. Why offer part of the card or the card, right? We want to offer the entire card number through the XSF format.
Yep, XSF, and we have a new driver for SSF, which I believe is 79 bits or some. But we can support SSF too. We have that driver preloaded in StoneLock, ready to accept all the Kantech formats. I'll just point out that I put a lot of investment and time into trying to make, like, it's kind of a physical demo. People see this stuff in person and they love it because it's like, it's pretty amazing how quick it authenticates you, and you got to kind of use it to really experience it. But I tried to replicate that with this setup here. And I think have done a pretty good job. And I've been, since I started at StoneLock, I've been doing demo after demo after demo in this sort of remote, especially because of COVID, in this remote setup. if you have customers that you'd like to show this product to, I would love to help do a demo with you collaboratively. You got myself, Tom, you have a whole bunch of resources from the Kantech team. Please reach out to sales@stonelock.com, and we would be happy to help coordinate a custom presentation for your customers.
There's more, Greg. Okay, good.
There is more. Yes, we that email address, you can also send an email if you're interested in putting from an office demo standpoint. We're running an office demo program. So if you want to get an office demo unit, send us an email and we can set you up there. The hardware will go through Kantech, so you'll purchase the hardware through Kantech. StoneLock will help coordinate the software at no charge and helping getting that software set up and online and integrated to Kantech with you.
And my favorite last point is, again, we want to set, as a dealer, we want to make your life a lot easier. So as you guys can see, some of the names are very familiar. The StoneLock product is rep to most of our dealers, rep firms across North America. So the Titan, the IMI, the CVID, the MTR, and so on are all the same rep firms for Kantech and StoneLock in most of the United States and Canada. This is a great thing because now the same guy, Carl, for example, or Jeff, can do the whole solution for you.
Yep. Yeah. So we have almost 70 reps across North America. We've outfitted them all with Go readers. They're all also Kantech reps, so they've got the ability and they've got it all set up with their integration. So it's not just me. We got an army of about 70 now, and then we've also sent to Kantech to Tom and Jason and Francis. Like all the Kantech RSMs have also got StoneLock here as well. So we are basically one giant united sales force. So if one of these is the rep firm you use, you'll be able to reach out to them and they'll be locked and loaded and ready to support you on StoneLock. Perfect. Tom, anything before we get wrapped up?
No, I think that's all I have to say. I think it's a great integration, as you guys saw. We tied everything together. So if you have any questions, ladies and gentlemen, please feel free to ask them in our question portion, and our beloved Yannick will definitely answer them as we go along. We have a few more minutes. We could answer some verbally if it is.
Yeah, and I was going to mention there was one there about being sold overseas. Absolutely. If you want to send us an email, we can get you coordinated for sure. Any pop out in particular there, Tom?
So yes, the benefit, it does work with a KT1. It is a weekend reader. It does support XSF, right? And it's if the distance of the cable are standard cables for any kind of reader. I think we've answered all the questions specifically.
Yep.
So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask them now. If not, we'll hope to see you guys soon. Again, you have the emails that are there. So Kantech sales@tycoint.com or sales@stonelock.com. Again, reach out to us. We'll be here for you guys to help you guys out. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you, everybody.